Hey guys, Lux Capital here. Today we're going to be talking about the model that I use every day for looking for my setups. Been using this model for the last 2 weeks now, and it's been insanely good. I'm still in the process of recovering from some drawdown and some psychology, so I've missed a lot of these trades. I've taken a couple this week. One of them today, being Friday, one of them today. That panned out pretty good. So hopefully next week will be a little better for me now that I've been, kind of rebuilding my confidence in seeing how well this model works. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit today and how to use it. There's also videos on YouTube. I didn't make this up. So there's also videos on YouTube from its creator. It's YouTube channel. If you search for Nexus Blast, you'll find that channel. That's where I found this. He does a good job of explaining it too in the setup, so whichever, you can go look at it. It's pretty much going to be the same as this video, I would imagine. So this looks like a lot probably, and I'll kind of explain what all these lines are. Hopefully you can see them. I have them pretty dimmed so that they don't completely distract me, but what I like to do is mark out all of my lines for the entire week. So on Monday, I had all these vertical lines marked out. What you're going to be marking, excuse me, is each day at midnight, I marked that with a green line. And then you're going to have vertical lines marked at 7 a.m. This one is wrong. You'll want to do 1 p.m., 7 p.m., and then midnight again. So midnight, 7 a.m., 1 p.m., 7 p.m. Those are all your session zones, right? So you've got midnight to 7 a.m. is anything Tokyo, London. And then 7 a.m. to 1 is a New York a.m. session, 1 to 7. It doesn't really even go to 7, but 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. is the New York p.m. session. So once you've got all those lines marked out across your entire week, or do it by the day, whatever you prefer. Once you've got those lines marked out, then what you do, I like to have a couple of days in the past just to kind of see what price action has done. But what you're going to do is you put a horizontal line at the high. I'm on the 1 hour. Go to like the 15 minute or even the 5 minute to make sure that it's precise. But what you do is you mark out the high and the low of each of those sessions. So there's a high here, low there, high here, low there, high, low, for all of your sessions that have already come and gone. Any liquidity levels that have been taken, I mark as gray. Any that are yet remaining to be untapped are this green color that I like. I also like to use, for the untapped liquidity, I put rays that go all the way across so that throughout the entire week, all the way to Friday, I can still see those levels. And then at the end of the week, I go clean this up and remove all the tapped lines. I don't obviously need these anymore. I'm only needing to keep untapped liquidity lines for future trades. You can kind of clean it up as the week goes on or at the end of the week. So the first thing that you'll be doing is drawing your vertical lines at noon, 7 a.m., 1 p.m., 7 p.m., and then in those sessions, mark your highs and lows of each session and leave the untapped areas a brighter color, I guess, to indicate they haven't been taken yet. They're still valid levels. So once you have all of that drawn out, say 7 a.m. is coming along. Actually, I can show you. I cherry picked a good setup here that just shows how well the model can work. But yes, it's cherry picked. So I like to sit on the 15 minute. And this, let's turn that to my green color. This is yet untapped just for the sake of the example here. So I like to sit on the 15 minute and 7 a.m. has rolled along. It's already 10:15, but I'm waiting for, I'll move this back. So I'm waiting for the previous session. So we're in 7 a.m. We're between 7 a.m. and noon. We're in the New York morning session. I'm waiting for the overnight session's high or low to get swept. That's it. I don't care about anything else. So I'm waiting for this level down here or this level up here between midnight and 7 a.m. to get swept. I don't really care what time that happens, as long as it's within the morning session. So the first step is identify the liquidity rate of London high or low if you're trading the New York morning session, or a sweep of the New York morning session high and low if you're trading the New York PM session. Obviously, step 2, avoid news or wait a few minutes after news has happened. 10, 15, 20 minutes, let it cool down, let it kind of calm down a little bit before you start entering anything. I almost never take an entry before 9:30 either. This model doesn't necessarily incorporate that, but use your own experience, use your own thoughts there. I personally don't like to trade before 9:30. We all know what happens at 9:30. So clear news, and then, okay. So then identify liquidity rate, right? So none of these levels have been taken yet. So we're going to play this forward. Obviously, that next candle took the liquidity, rejected pretty hard, actually quite a bit at about this level. But it did tap this liquidity, and this line wouldn't necessarily be here yet. You don't draw these until the session is over, but this was Monday. So anyway, that's been tapped. It's no longer green. As soon as it's tapped, I jump down to the 5-minute, wait for a market structure shift, which I do already have drawn here, but that's fine. So now that it's been swept, we wait for a shift in the opposing direction. Takes a good half hour, 45 minutes. We had the sweep of the liquidity at 10:35, and then we've got a market structure shift at 11:30. So it took like an hour. You can see all these equal levels here. I count this as the market structure shift because it was the high before the down impulse that took out the liquidity. In this case, that's what I went with for the market structure shift. A market structure shift is technically just the break of the most recent swing point, which is this candle. So it's according to ICT, but either way works. They're all kind of equal level here anyway. Market structure shift, it can't take out the opposing liquidity before returning to the fair value gap. So wait for a market structure shift with a body close. We don't count it until a candle body closes over it. If it goes up in wicks, it's not counted yet. Wait for the next candle to body close past that market structure shift line. Once it does, identify fair value gaps left by the market structure shift, which I need one more candle to make that happen. Now we have a fair value gap here. I drew it way far out, but that's fine. Fair value gap. You can look for any other PD arrays that overlap or are near it. I mean, it's kind of a mess right here, so I don't really see anything, but I like to look for a breaker block or an order block or an opposing fair value gap. So this is a inefficiency in buy side. So you can look for an opposing fair value gap, which there is a tiny maybe one tick gap between these two candles that overlaps. So that can be an inversion fair value gap that still could be respected. So different things like that. You can look. I don't think this is considered with Nexus Blast when he talks about how he trades this model and the rules that he has. I like to. To me, it just adds more confluence. So look for your PD arrays there. As long as the market structure shift impulse leg doesn't take out opposing liquidity before retracing to entry, you place your limit order on that fair value gap or PD array combo. So right up the top of the fair value gap, you target the swing low, recent swing low, which is actually here, 5 1/4 handles, and you target opposing liquidity. You've got 3 at this point. I know this one's gray, but at this point there's 3 untapped levels. The way that I like to trade is go for the furthest one or go for the second or third one, because then what I'll do is I'll take partials along the way. You can cram it all into one trade at 4 3/4, 5 handles, and throw whatever amount of contracts you want and just bang out a 5-handle run. It works a lot at 5 handles and or 1-to-1. I don't really like to exceed a 5-handle stop loss for the most part. So my 1-to-1s are usually 5 and 5, but 5 handles is really good. It really is. But anyways, we're going to go up here just because I cherry picked this. I already know how it's going to turn out. But target an opposing liquidity level that still has a green line. This one should, because it hasn't been taken yet. Set your limit order. I don't know about how you guys trade. Me personally, I used to use market orders, and I hesitate a lot clicking the button in the moment. Setting limit orders on this model has been insane for my psychology, for my ability to execute. It removes your control. You've put the limit on there, and just let it be. Just let it go. Walk away. I mean, it's nice to watch it, but metaphorically speaking, place the limit and put your hands in your pockets and just let it ride out. So yeah, take profit opposing untapped liquidity and you let it play out. Next candle comes up some, we come back down before taking this first level of liquidity and we tap. I'm not going to actually hit the buy on the replay, but we tap into it, respects it very nicely, and we take off in the other direction. As soon as I clear the first level, I take off a partial and I move my stop to break even, or a couple ticks above just because of spreads and fees and stuff. Break even technically isn't break even, so I give myself a tick or two above my entry point and basically just let it ride. However your risk management comes into play at that point. I've already taken off a partial here. I'm going to take off a partial here and here if it gets there, and you just let it ride. So we've taken this level now, and as they get taken, you can gray them out. They are no longer valid liquidity levels as they have been swept. And you'll see as it goes, it swept this, retraced a little, came up here and took it, retraced a little. It's going to come up here and take it. And not retrace. In this case, Monday was a really good one. And I did not take it, I don't think. I can turn my executions on. I don't think I did. No, I didn't do anything on Monday. Don't remember why, because this was pretty fantastic. I think all this choppy chop had me second guessing things before I was really... I just literally wake up in the morning, look at this chart, look at my steps, and I'm like, trust the model. I say it over and over again. Just trust it. Set the limit and trust it. It does work. And it doesn't work 100% of the time. Nothing does, but trust the model. So anyways, it goes up, you bank your profits, whatever. That's essentially the gist of it. You're marking out let me get out of here. You're marking out each level, high and low, for each session. Hold on, I gotta sneeze, I think. Nope, maybe not. And waiting for it to get swept. So you don't do anything until that happens. It's really that easy. And like I said, I extend my lines out through the session. Like, see, we're in PM session now on ES on the 5 minute. If this gets swiped, I would start looking for a long to potentially take out any, well, the only real untapped, oops, let's go back, save this. Let's go back to the one I actually trade on because I have all my drawings. Boom, look at that. All right. So if we can clear this bullish order block that we've tapped into a number of times today, we'll sweep this liquidity, and this one is supposed to have a line on it too. I forgot I never did add that. So we might sweep this level or sweep this level. Both of which are near term, waiting to be swept, and then I'll look for longs. The high of the morning session is up here. Looks like it's covered up and protected, I guess, by this order block. But I mean, this one can also be targeted. It's pretty close by. There's a couple along the way. You know, we've already been bullish this entire week. I really don't expect a new high to be created on Fridays. So really what I would look for is like bang out a quick scalp of 5 handles. And that's it. So we're actually bouncing on equal lows right now. Is it going to create the equal low or sweep it? Look at this. I mean, these levels aren't made up. You know, look at that reaction. It's perfect. You literally can't make this stuff up. So that's it. It's as easy as that. Ignore some of my other random drawings. I have an indicator that shows me the weekly candle, so I can see power of 3 and get an idea of how the week is supposed to transpire. But it's that easy. There was I can show you another example of some, if you want. I was mapping this one out, which is, I think, where there wasn't a good fair value gap, but other opposing or other PD arrays made this a solid consideration. So 8 a.m. I don't know why my lines aren't right. I think I had them drawn wrong, and then I copy pasted across the whole week, and they're all jacked up. But anyways, we took that session's low before taking the high. So we're looking for longs, some market structure shifts. I don't know, that this high or this high, it's pretty much the same, covered by both candles. It happens there. It does retrace a bit, but there's no fair value gap in here. But what there is after this candle comes down and trades above this bullish candle or bearish candle, that's an order block. Like that, I think I've got one in here. Bearish order block, bullish order block. I don't have a bullish one. Yeah, bullish order block. And we've got a breaker here. And I think that's really it. It's either this one or this one. I mean, it was just creating these retests over and over again right here. There's no fair value gap. I think there's a tiny one right here that I guess could count. What is the low of this candle? 4408.75. High of this candle is 4408.25. So there's a half a point fair value gap in here. So technically the model played out, but God, I would have missed that. Very easily would have missed that. Huge stop loss. But because all of these things are here, I would have just gone down to a 5.5 point at that swing level. And then yesterday, right around yesterday, went on for miles. I think it was one of the biggest daily runs we had all week. 30-some handles. 70 some handles, really. Pretty insane, dude. Pretty insane. Made new highs, so it's hard to gauge. I mean, this is over here is like the nearest liquidity level that you even could reference. So I really like the idea of runners, to be honest. Take your last point here, leave one micro or whatever. Yeah, probably just leave a micro unless you're have a huge amount of equity. And let her buck. Once you start retracing a little bit, you can be like, that's enough. It's maybe coming back down. But it ran. It ran, homies. It ran for 76 handles. So it's got a lot of potential. This model works really great. It's worked really great for me. I kind of want to see what happened after we just swept it. All right, cool. And we swept that. And are rejecting pretty hard. So if I were to continue looking for something, the nearest swing high right now is right here. Market structure shift. So I'm going to wait for that. It's already 3 o'clock. Hard to say if it'll have time to reverse, come up here, come back, make a fair value gap, come back down, and then take off all within an hour. But it's only a few candles. So that might have been it for liquidity grabs today. And then it's just going to do some stupid stuff for the rest of the afternoon. It's a Friday. It's not going to have a lot of energy, but anyway, I think I've provided enough explanation there. So again, set your vertical lines. Is this messed up? It's at 12:55 instead of 1. Pro tip, on your verticals, hit the lock button. So as you're dragging left and right, you don't move your lines. Yeah, everything was set to 8 a.m. this week. I think my copy paste and drag it all over for each day got messed up. So it's 7 p.m. So yeah, midnight, 7 a.m., 1 p.m., 7 p.m., midnight, 7 a.m., 1 p.m., 7 p.m. Draw your lines and then mark your highs and lows for each session. Wait for the previous session's high-low to get broken. Find an opposing market structure shift and fair value gap and take off and target the other side. Pretty simple, and it flipping works. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. Peace out.